What's up guys, it's FinestYT here from Mackay Gaming, and today we're going to go through 5 tips that you need to learn to improve at Fortnite. In this video we'll talk about creative, settings and practice techniques that you can use when you play the game. I just wanted to say thank you for all the support in the last video. If you're new around here then please click the subscribe button, as we'll be releasing way more tips and tricks content in the future, and let's get straight into the video. So tip number 1 is you must be grinding 1v1 realistics. This is the most realistic practice you can get in all of Fortnite for fighting. So in my previous video I mentioned during the warm-up that you need to be W keying an arena, and whilst this is true and I still agree with that statement, I would recommend that before you do this, you grind 1v1 realistics until you're confident and capable of winning the majority of your fights. Not every fight, because no one can win every fight, but you're certainly beating most of the people that you come across in these 1v1 realistics. And this is because when you're doing these, you can just solely focus on fighting, whereas in arena you waste a lot of time looting, farming, searching for new games if you lose a fight, and in terms of time it just isn't as efficient practice as it would be to just grind these constantly if you're literally just solely focusing on fighting. Now obviously arena does work on different parts, so arena does work on fighting but it also works on your game sense in an actual game, which 1v1 realistics doesn't do. But most people need to improve at their fighting before they even think about game sense, because even if you're making the best plays, you're making the best rotates, you're taking only the fights that you need to take, you still need to be able to close out in those mid-game fights and in those end-game and of course early game fights. And the great thing about this realistic matchmaking is you don't even need to have one of your friends online to do it. You can just load up the map, go over to this part, the matchmaking realistic 1v1, click use and enter the matchmaking, and that will just put you into a game with somebody else who's matchmaking at the same time, and then you can fight them. And you can literally just keep on searching, clicking the matchmaking button until you've found someone that you think is either at your skill level or just below or just above your skill level, so that you can practice effectively. You don't want to be playing as someone who is really bad and way worse than you, because you won't learn anything from that. But on the flip side, you don't want to go against someone who's way better than you and you can't even get a shot on them and you're not really learning anything at all. So it's kind of up to you to make sure you're getting the right practice there, but 100% this is so good, especially since you don't even need to have anyone online that you know. You can just jump straight in with a random online player. Okay, so tip number 2 follows on from tip number 1, and it is use the creative record replay option when practicing. So I'm sure you will have heard the term VOD review, and this is where you record your gameplay and then watch this back, highlighting the good and bad things you did and then trying to improve on these. And people tend to use this pretty much only for actual games or scrims. However, you can also use this technique when you're practicing in creative. This way, when you lose a fight, or perhaps when you lose lots of fights to one good player, you can then come to this section and work out what you did wrong. Did you do bad peeks? Did you not protect yourself whilst building? Or did you simply just scuff your edits? This setting is a really useful tool and it should be used more, and I'm going to show you now how you can turn this setting on. Okay, so all you have to do is head over to your settings, click on the little cog wheel thing, scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the option record creative mode replays, and simply all you have to do is turn this button on, click apply, and then once you go out and head over to your replays, this will have saved all of your creative replays that you can then go in, VOD review and do whatever the hell you want with them. Okay, so tip number 3 is don't just watch pros, but analyse them and everything that they do. So one of the best ways to improve is by watching pro players and learning from them. However, when you're watching them, don't just sit there and consume the content and sit there in awe of them. Actually analyse what they're doing. Look at how they position their character, look at their peaks, look at their retakes, look at their box fighting techniques, and once you've identified what these pros do really well and how they close their fights out, go and practice this yourself in creative whilst free building in the 1v1 realistics. One good tip when watching pros, more so on YouTube, is just to slow the video down and look at exactly where they've placed their building pieces, what they're doing and why they have done it, because once you know why they've done it, you can then apply those techniques to multiple fighting situations and hopefully close out more fights yourself. I think too many people, when they're watching pros, they just kind of sit there in awe and say, oh my god, they're so good. But why don't you just slow it down, watch what they're doing, and perhaps maybe you could be as good as them as well once you've learned how to do it. Then a little bonus tip for this one is to subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to do an upcoming series where I analyse pro players and how they actually fight, how they place their building pieces, just basically everything they do in the fight, and try and analyse the exact reasons as to why they do certain things. So if you subscribe to my channel, in the future you can watch those videos, and you can also learn in the same way that I will from watching these professional players and slowing down the footage for you guys. Tip number 4 is all about piece control. So piece control is of course the meta in Fortnite these days. If you aren't good at piece control, then it is something that you absolutely need to master. You've got to be practicing this constantly in creative, and here is a few ways to practice it. As you can see on the screen, I've put up a map code, and this is for a map where you can solely just practice piece control. It's all on your own, it's low stress, you just kind of learn the techniques, learn how to place the building pieces, because sometimes it can be hard to actually work out how far away you can place a cone from, exactly how quickly you can actually place these building pieces, and this map solely works on that. Okay, so now you can see the next map, and this map is the BHE 1v1 build fight map. And again, I've put the code up on the screen there so that you can see it. All the codes for all the maps in this video will be in the description below. So basically, if you load up this 1v1 build fight map, you can head over to the matchmaking, and this puts you in a game with around 10 people. And basically, you just have like a free-for-all, a massive free-for-all fight. It's a bit crazy, and I use this to also train my aim, building, and editing. It kind of works on absolutely everything. But the reason why it can also be quite good for piece control is because you can jump into this game and you can just solely work on trying to box people, trying to piece control people, trying to get cones on people, trying to get cones in the boxes, and just work on speeding up your piece control and just becoming comfortable with placing your pieces around people, especially because there's 10 people in this game and it's kind of crazy. There's constantly fights going on. You can literally constantly work on your piece control every second of the game. You'll have someone running at you, try and box them up, try and piece control them, and just constantly work on this. In my opinion, these two ways are two of the best ways to work on your piece control, and then you can move on to tip 1, where you actually work on your 1v1 realistics and you try and use your piece control versus an actual player instead of in like this crazy environment of the 1v1 build fights. So apply both of these methods to practice, and I guarantee your piece control will at least improve a little bit, but I expect that you'd see huge improvements, because I have since I started trying to do these maps. Tip number 5, and the final tip for this video, is that you must challenge yourself every time you play Fortnite. Every time you log on to Fortnite, you must challenge yourself to learn something new. Too many people log on to Fortnite and they just do the same thing every single day. The same warm-up, the same free building, the same editing. They just do the same thing. And if you really want to improve, then you must challenge yourself in different ways and always practice new things. This might be practicing a new high ground retake, it might be practicing a box fighting technique, or simply just grinding a new creative map that you've never used before. Either way, you must make sure you don't get stuck in the same routine and keep on working things that you're not good at, so eventually you become the best all-around player you can be. You don't want to be just good at building, and you don't want to be just good at editing, and you don't want to just have god aim. You want to be good at every single thing you can be good at, so that you can potentially reach your potential. So this is my challenge to you. Basically, every single day when you log on to Fortnite, say to yourself, I'm going to learn this one new thing. Write it down at the start of your session and then learn it, and make sure you do that every single day, and I promise you you'll improve as a player the more days that you do this. If you do this for 2-3 weeks, think of how many new things that you will learn in that time. This is probably the most important tip on this list, because not enough people do it. People get stuck in the same old routines, the same as real life, which means they never train their brain to actually challenge itself. And that's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope these 5 tips will help you improve your game, and hopefully next time you tune into one of my videos, you'll be a much better player for it. Please click the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it so much. And if you could also leave a like on this video, that would be massively appreciated. It really helps for the YouTube algorithm, so that would be great. Leave a comment down below as well. I reply to all my comments, so if you want to interact with me, if you want to give me some tips, perhaps how I can improve my videos, please put them below, or just some nice comments in general would be fantastically appreciated. Also, please stay tuned for my upcoming videos. I'm going to be doing a Kovacs routine very soon, and I'm also going to be starting the series on analysing professional players and fighting. So stay tuned for that. I think that's going to be a really interesting series, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Peace.